Welcome to the One Player Podcast, the show on solitaire board games. I'm Albert, and this is episode 382.
And today we're talking about sushi seriously. Because it's from the sea, serious.
Seriously. Oh, that's nice. I thought something fishy was going on here for a minute.
Hello, Albert. Good evening.
How you doing, Julius?
Doing well. Enjoying your summer.
I am, yeah. It's been super hot, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
It's finally things have finally slowed down a little bit.
taking some time off, living the high life, running around the country. That's our dear old Albert.
That's right. Yeah. So we should tell listeners. We didn't really talk about it, but we've decided because I'm like, hey, I can't keep up this pace right now. So let's switch to every other week. So we're gonna be doing a show every other week
And I think this
going
is
forward for the time being.
yeah, I don't think this is a long-term decision. This is just a matter of, well, Albert and I have a number of other things going on in each of our respective lives. So we're cutting that down temporarily. We will at one point in time move back to doing every week because I do enjoy recording podcasts. I would like to come back to doing that, but for now we're going to be doing every other week.
Yep. So there we go. So yeah, and so next time we're recording, I'm actually traveling, so I won't be able to record anyway. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
So today we are talking about Maki Master. This is a game from Kids Table Board Games, and you are a chef preparing different versions of sushi. So you have a board full of different recipe options, or excuse me, different ingredient options, and you have a hand of recipe cards. So you're trying to make those recipe cards come out to get points. And the goal is to have the most amount of points by the time the board fills all the way up. And he who has the most points is the Maki Master.
Okay, it sounds simple and fun. And the board is not. Is it an actual? Yeah, there is an actual physical board, isn't there? That's
There
cool.
is an actual physical board. So let me actually talk about, let's go through components first, because Albert's just jumping straight into components.
Sorry. Yeah, looking at pictures.
Albert's excitement has overwhelmed him yet again. Um, so Maki Master, the game's components, let's just go through what they are first. First, as Albert mentioned, you do have a big board. The board is designed to look like a sushi mat, so like a bamboo mat that you use to make sushi on or that you use to play out on. It is a grid because you're going to be having the ingredients laid out on the grid. Theoretically, that grid is, I think it's 7x7, but the size of it changes based on the number of players. So if you have 4 players, you have the full grid size. If you have 3 players, you cut it down by 1 column. If you have 2 players, you cut off 2 columns. And when you're playing solo, so there's a solo bot that's controlling the other players, so you keep it at a 2-player count. So you have that grid that's designed to look like that. There is a second board, which is the tools board, and the tools board is what you're using to cover up how the right amount of columns for your player count, but also to put out a set of tool cards. There are cards in the game that are these prep cards, these tools cards that you can use. Actually, they're called action cards that you can use to do special things like put out extra ingredients or move ingredients around or swap ingredients or stack ingredients, all sorts of special different things that you can use to have a little bit more interactions. Those are going to be placed on that gray board. Then, perhaps the bulk of the game are all of the different ingredient tiles. There's a whole pile of ingredient tiles, ranging from different types of rice or fishes or vegetables, all sorts of different things. Even a couple special ones where there's only one of each of them, so you can have a little bit of squid in there. Some of those delicious things. So there's a whole pile of those. Those are cardboard tiles. When you lay those out, so theoretically what you do is you lay those out on piles so that each one has a whole set of them, so you have a whole big display of them. The Kickstarter version that I have had a plastic insert so that all of those can be slotted in. I'm going to break here and talk about my thoughts on those two components. When you take the time to spread them all out across the board. It takes up a bunch of room on your table, but you also have the advantage of being able to easily and quickly see them. When they're slotted in there, it is very easy to get the game out and get it to the table very fast. The different types of ingredients are sorted by their different categories. Like there's the fish category, there's the rice
Hmm.
category, there's the miscellaneous category. So you can tell by the background color of the ingredient which type it is. And all of the ingredients of that color are in a row in that slot on the insert, on the plastic insert tray. So if you see blue one, you know it's going to be in the blue one. But you do not have the advantage of knowing which one of the blue ones it is. The plastic tray has them all upright, so you may have to be like, is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Ah, I found it. It's this one. And then eventually you'll be able to find which one it is. So they don't like sit back at a tilt. There's no like
Yeah.
tabs or anything like that that help you be able to see which one is which. Um, it can be perhaps a little bit annoying to be able to find it. It doesn't really break things up too much. You just find it. It's not too bad, especially because all of them are organized by color. You could find it relatively rapidly. I don't know if there's a better solution to have done anything else about it, because the only other option is to not have the insert and to take a bunch of times to sort it all out. The sorting happens really quickly all by itself this way. Everything is exactly where you want it to be.
Hmm.
So this is probably the best that can be done. I can't think of any better way of having handled it, but just because I can't think of it doesn't mean that I don't wish that there was a better one.
Like if, for example, if somebody printed a 3D tray where they're separated by type,
Well, they
so you
are
have,
separated by type.
yep. No, but I
They
mean,
are
like, so you have one, two, three, six columns by color, and then within each column there's little dividers. So you could have one or two or three, depending on how many are of that individual.
so
There's I
there's
see a 3D printer tray of that. I
right.
think
So
is
there's four different, and it's possible you're looking at a picture of the actual thing, because the actual thing,
is it yellow?
I don't think so. No,
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what you're
This one
looking
is.
at then. But the actual thing does have it divided both by specific one and by type. So each column is a whole type, but and within that column are individual slots for each individual piece of it. So all
Okay.
of the snapper are all in their own little dedicated spot, dedicated slot. So they're all in their dedicated slot. But if, for example, you want tuna and not snapper, there's no way of telling which one of the slots is the tuna slot as compared to the snapper slot. So you have to just start going one by one, row
Gotcha.
by row
Okay.
through it and seeing which one it is. There's no dividers or anything else like that. There's not like a tab up above it. Like if I have cards, like when I sort out my cards for Arkham Horror, things like that, there's a tab divider separating out all of the red cards from all the yellow cards. And so when I want to see all the red cards, I go and I look for the red tab and I grab the red cards out of there. There's not any tabbed divider for this one. Instead, it's just different slots. So the different slots keeps everything nicely organized, but it makes it just a tiny little bit harder that you sometimes have to fish for a couple extra seconds. Fish for an extra couple
Nice.
seconds to be able to see which one it is. And granted,
Okay.
if the design, the I'd definitely rather have the tray than not have the tray. I don't begrudge the tray. The tray is good to be able to have because it makes things very nicely organized, makes it very quickly to get to the table. And I don't really know that there's another solution to have done it without made any other form of that tray without having dividers, which I understand can have a whole different set of issues.
Yep.
So, yeah,
So yeah, so the tray I'm looking at, I do wonder if it's a custom tray or something.
it is a custom tray.
It looks like it'd be easy enough to tell them apart by just looking at it down a little bit. But whatever. It is interesting. It's you kind of like both want to have it and not want to have it.
Yeah. So, the next component I'm going to talk about, there is also these wasabi cubes. Um, there's these cubes that are just essentially a block of wasabi. Certain actions, if you do them like pristinely, like super well with style, you get a couple wasabi cubes. Each wasabi cube counts as a point, and there's some shaped cubes, like wasabi swirl type things, that count as 5 wasabis. So you use those to track bonus points when you do particularly well. And there's a small plastic dish that looks like a soy sauce dish that is used to hold all of those wasabi cubes. I like the wasabi cubes. I like the dish. I like the whole pile of them. The only issue is that they don't all fit in that wasabi dish. It's like sometimes if you have all of them, they are kind of pouring out, but that's perfectly fine. I think it's actually a little bit of fun doing that when you just don't care. If you're not a very neat person and you don't care about sort of falling out a little bit, it looks kind of nice. um, the next component I was talking about. There are recipe cards as well. So the recipe cards is a stack of recipe cards with different numbers. So like there's recipes with 2, 3, 4, and 5 ingredients in them. The higher ones, you get choices of which one it is, and you'll lay out a display. There's a deck full of the 2 ones, so you can pick either a 2, a 3, 4, or 5, but you don't know which one of those you're getting. So you don't know if you're getting the 2 with snapper or with veg. You pick one you don't know. So those are the recipe cards. The one I want to get to is the teacup markers. There are 3 teacups that are, excuse me, there's 4 teacups in the game. In the base version of the game, they are white discs with a sticker on it, so that it looks like it's a teacup full of green tea. In the deluxe version, it is a shaped wood cup looking piece. So it's got a hollow inside of it, looks like an actual cup, and that is your teacup. The teacup is essentially a end game timer, so that when every spot is filled with either an ingredient or a teacup, that ends the game. But during the last turn of the game, you can move those teacups around as much as you like. So that means that you have 5 spaces you can pick from for your last turn of the game. So the teacups make things be a bit more interesting. The base version of the game comes with those teacup markers. The deluxe version of the game comes with those this cup looking things. My daughter, who is awesome, did a resin pour to fill it with a green tea resin pour.
Oh
So now it
wow,
looks like it's full of liquid tea. they
that's
look
really cool.
they look fire. They look really nice.
That is cool.
Yeah. So
That's
those are amazing. I can only say I wish that was the base default version of the game, because they're really nice. Those are pretty awesome. So I highly
mm-hmm.
recommend if you have the deluxe version of the game, do a nice little resin pour and fill that with some nice green tea resin. It looks really cool.
That's and that's not that hard to do, honestly, is it?
Oh
If you have
no.
the resin supplies,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's not hard at all. It's a simple resin pour. So all we had to do was buy the resin coloring and some resin pour and mix them together and pour them in, being careful not to let bubbles get in, and then just let it sit. And that's it. It was
that's
super
pretty
easy.
neat. That's really neat. Okay. These components look really nice, by the way. I don't think Julius has really mentioned it, but I love the look of everything on here. The board looks nice with the bamboo. The tiles all look nice.
Mm-hmm.
The tiles are cool because when they're on the board, it almost looks like the tile have like a plate with the ingredients on it. It almost looks like the plate is the tile and sitting on a board. It's just really well done. I
Yeah.
can't explain that well, but when you look at a picture of BGG, you're thinking, oh, these little round and rectangular tiles and stuff. And no, they're all square tiles with pictures that look like round and rectangular tiles.
Yeah. I don't think you make that confused because the tiles are also the right color. So again, like veg is green and things like that.
Yeah,
So that makes it clear where things are to make it very vibrant. But the art is all really colorful. It's all really bright. The action cards are all really bright. Everything here is really high quality. It is very well produced. It is a really nice game to sit on your table. I love the look of it.
that's because we're bad about this. Who made this game and who's the designer and all that? Who publishes
Oh,
it?
I announced the publisher. It's Kids Table Board
Did
Game.
you? Okay. Okay. I remember them. They did that other game we talked about. What's it called?
Yeah.
The power plants.
Yes, I have a fair number of things from them on my shelf at this point in time. So,
Okay,
the design team, the designer, by the way, is Josh Capel and Adam Gertzbian, because I looked at it real quick.
gotcha. Okay, and the artist is Claire Lynn.
So yes, everything looks really nice, high quality stuff. I will also say, if you like the quality of some of those components, there is some bonus components that come with some mini expansions that came with my copy of the game, where there is also a ginger set of meeples, so ginger meeples that come out. But perhaps the coolest thing is the soy sauce expansion, where there's a little soy sauce bottle meeple with some soy sauce servings. So like they're wood brown rectangles, but the idea is it's a pour of soy sauce. So you will take the bottle of soy sauce and pour some soy sauce onto a particular ingredient to make that ingredient work better. And so it's an extra wild thing. Very cool. Very nice looking.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that one too. That it all looks really nice. Just definitely, it's a great looking game.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay, so I think that's all about the components. Albert, shall we talk about. Actually, I think we skipped over the gameplay. Shall we talk about the gameplay?
And we haven't talked
Or,
about the
sorry,
rules
about the
either.
theme, rather. We skipped over
Yeah.
theme. So, the theme is that you are a sushi chef trying to prepare things. I think, as Albert has mentioned, these components have really helped you feel like you are making sushi. The only problem is that your ingredients are limitless. If I make a sushi roll with a thing, you would think that it consumes the stuff on the board, but it doesn't consume the stuff on the board. The stuff on the board stays there. So yeah, there is perhaps a certain amount of disconnect in that you aren't actually using anything. Um, but sure, you definitely feel like you have a big array of ingredients and everything looks really cool. So it brings you into the idea of sushi just because everything looks really nice, even if it doesn't feel like some of the other kitchen type games, like a kitchen rush or things like that, where an
Hmm.
ingredient goes in and an ingredient goes out when you use it. Everything that is used stays there. You can play multiple recipes at the time that use a single ingredient multiple times, and it just stays there. So there is some thematic disconnect, but it looks cool enough that I don't care.
Yeah, it looks great. It like you said, it's a little bit weird for some things, but it looks so nice. It just
Yeah.
does.
So, in terms of the rules, I don't really have a whole lot that I can comment about the rules. The rules are perfectly adequate. The game is not a super complex game, so they give you really big highlights. You have two steps: you play a tile, and then you either serve or prep, and it goes through how you do each of those three things, and then that is the end of your turn, and then it tells you about bonus actions that you can do, and that's it. So the
Okay.
rules explain all of that really well. Made sure that that's all really clear, so I didn't have any issues with that. Integrating some of the bonus expansion rules was harder. The bonus expansion rules have little tiny rules sheets that,
Ah.
because they're so easily integrated and then not in the rules, you know, torn about that one, because sometimes you have to look at them. They're on a separate rule sheet, and I wish they were in the main rules one, but then I know not everyone has them. So, yeah, tis what tis on that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And expansion is always a little separate anyway,
Yeah.
so that's fine. So okay. So now that you've read the rules, how's the gameplay?
So, talking about the gameplay, let me first go through how the game plays. I mentioned your turn has two steps. First step is you play a tile. You will choose any of the potential ingredients, whether you want some basic rice or whether you want some fish or some veg or even one of the rare ingredients, some squid, some scallops. You pick any of the ingredients as long as it's available. So, like the special ones, like there is only one squid, and you put it anywhere on the board. It doesn't have to go next to any filled spaces, doesn't have to go in an empty space, because you can put it in a space that formerly had a teacup, so you can move the teacups around. You cannot dislodge an ingredient, but otherwise you can put it anywhere on the board. The reason why you're doing that is usually because you are working towards serving. Serving means that If you completed a recipe on your turn, so you can't like peg and see, hey, that person completed my recipe, so I'm going to complete it then. If you completed a recipe on your turn, you can choose to serve that recipe. So you spot and say, hey, I put this tile down here, and my recipe matches this tile and the set of tiles in a line. So, like, my recipe is a rice, a fish, and an avocado. And here they are in a line, and I just now added the avocado, and good, match. You play that card, and you get whatever number of points it is that are listed on the card. The card has a certain set, it has it in the certain orders. Like I just said, now I said rice, fish, avocado. If you get it exactly in that order, so rice, fish, then avocado, you also get a bonus set of wasabi tiles to show that you are amazing and that you get some extra points at the end of the game. The the level 2 cards, because they obviously don't care about the order, instead, when you serve them, you, instead of having the potential to get wasabi, you instead get some bonus action cards. So bonus action cards are cards that can give you a bonus action on your turn to mess around with some extra special stuff. um so when you serve, you're going to be playing those recipe cards out. So theoretically, you had 3 recipe cards. Now you went down to, I don't know, you may have finished off all 3 of your recipe cards because you're an amazing person. But however many you played, at the end of your turn, you will draw back up. So you can choose whichever one of the ingredients one you want to do to determine how hard it is. The 5 ones are pretty tough. The 5 ones always have a special ingredient, and it's going to take a bunch of ingredients all in a row to be able to do them, but they are the most amount of points compared to any of the other levels of cards. So there's a lot of risk and a lot of reward for those ones. So that is the serve option. If, let's say that, there was nothing that you can immediately score a recipe, instead you will prep. So after playing a tile, you will prep and you will do one of the following things. You will either get an action card, and again, those action cards can give you bonus actions outside of your main thing that you're doing. You can take wasabi from the pool. Often, when people are buying recipe cards, they're having to put extra wasabi into the pool of wasabi, an available pool of wasabi. That available pool of wasabi can be pulled by someone as a prep turn, and that wasabi is worth a point. So when someone, for example, pulls a five ingredient card, they have to place 2 wasabi in the pool. The next person can just be like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to take the 2 wasabi from the pool, and that's 2 points for me for free for doing absolutely nothing other than you getting a nice card. So if you're willing to give up on your whole turn for that, then you certainly can. Alternatively, you can just fish through your deck. You can return recipe cards to the deck and then draw as many recipe cards as you need. That has the advantage of sometimes avoiding those wasabi pool bonuses, because let's say you really wanted to try for some 5s, draw a bunch of 2s, then do the fishing, and then swap those 2s in for 5s, and now you don't have to give out those wasabis to everyone and still end up with a handful of 5s. So
But that sounds like it took a little bit more actions or a few more turns.
sometimes it does. Usually you're trying to use those turns advantageously to do other things, but sometimes, I mean, the way you filter out those 2s is that you filter out those 2s over time and swap into them, or you can just make that like your first action of the game, even if you just want to jump straight into the all 5s and build up into
Mm-hmm.
those. So you have things you can do with that. Those action cards that I mentioned, there's just a whole bunch of things you can do with the actions: so switching, swapping, stacking, making cards not go in a line, um, being able to jump over things like that. So like, there's a bunch of things you can do with those extra cards. Every turn, theoretically, everyone is going to be placing a tile out at the end, out on the board. If all of the spaces are filled, we're going to go into end game. During end game, at this point, everyone gets an opportunity to take one last turn. Now, on this last turn, really what you're only able to do is you're going to be filling out your extra actions, because if you had a bunch of actions from action cards that you can do stuff with to be able to make some last recipes, this is giving you an extra opportunity to do so. If you can't, essentially you're just going to be taking a little small piece of wasabi from the board and moving on. But it's a good opportunity for people to not feel bad at the end of the game. Like, I was building up to something really cool because I had like these 3 action cards. I was going to do this and this and this and this and then do a really cool thing. And he'd stole it from me and now time ran out on me. Well, you still get a final opportunity to use all your hands. And if you can't do it in your final opportunity, then too
Yeah.
bad, so sad.
Maybe you did at least something, if not all of it.
Yeah. So then at that point in time, score everyone's points, calculate points on their cards, plus points on their from their wasabi, and whoever does it wins. And then you toast the winner because there's all the teacups, so everyone gets you do a teacup toast to the winner. Which,
Just don't drink the resin.
don't drink the resin, but I always do like, we have our nice little resin cups, and so we definitely do the ritual called for at the end of the rules where you toast the winner because we have the awesomest teacups around.
That's neat. Yeah, you should upload pictures of that to BGG.
I think they're in places, but yeah, sure, I will. So that is Maki Master. Now, then, some of my thoughts on it. The level 2, a concern I have is that there's a difference in strength, it seems, between the different levels of cards. The level 2 ones are pretty good to jumpstart you at the beginning, and even whenever you're running low on tempo, you can get a jump start by doing a level 2. They're quick, they're easy, you're pretty sure to get just some amount of points from them, as well as being able to fuel some of the other stuff because you get an action card with it. So a 2 and then a 4 feels really good because the 2 gives you the stuff you need to be able to do the 4, and being able to bounce between those two feels real nice. 3 sort of also fits into that slot. It's not too hard, it doesn't require a whole bunch of planning, so if you're sort of just coasting, you just coast on 3s. The real problem comes into play with those 5s. Those 5 ingredients ones are really tough. They require having 5 ingredients all in a row. Nobody else knows what they are. Nobody else is helping you with them. It takes so much time and effort to do that. And all of the 5 ingredient ones require a special ingredient. It has to be with the ingredient there's only one of. So, maybe if you get like 3 5s that all require, for example, the squid, well, you put out that squid, and so now you've brought on board all of those 5 ingredients. But if you pull 5 cost ones, and one requires squid, and one requires, I don't know what the other ones are, scallops or I don't know,
Eel
squid,
or something.
scallops and eels, whatever it is. So if they require 3 different ingredients, so then you're like, well, that's annoying because to finish this off just takes so much time. I don't really want to do that. So now what? I'm just going to waste time and fish for more 5s and see if I can get more 5s. And so sometimes that's just, those 5 ones are just not compelling enough, which means that the special ones just don't feel compelling enough. And it could be that the number of points that they give, because yeah, they give a lot of points, and I understand that they give a lot of points, but I haven't seen those points as being compelling enough to want to play them because it's just so slow to be able to do that. Now, the game has a really cool feature that if you place one, you're encouraged to try and do it so that you can have multiple different cards line up. Where with one placement, you can finish off 3 cards, like slotting a fish right
Yep.
here, and then potentially you put a fish and then you swap this veg with this veg so that the fish one finishes off and the veg one that you did over here, and between all of them you like do a cool move and you finish them all off, and those feel really awesome when you can do that. When you move all those things together, that's really cool. And because there's always that allure of being able to do those things, you very much feel pulled together to try and find those things. So those allures are really cool. But being able
Yeah.
to do that with those 5s, because that's 5 all in a row, and sometimes those 5 do not align with what anyone else is doing. Like, other people obviously don't have your same ingredients, and they wouldn't be encouraged to help you with your ingredients if they did. So
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't work out with those 5s, and those 5s to me remain elusive. I've continued
Yeah.
to try a couple times trying to win games with those 5s, and I just haven't. And I like those 5s, and they taunt me. They taunt me.
Yeah, the board is too small to really support a lot of those because it's six spaces across, right? Maybe seven, and you're doing a five ingredient recipe.
I mean, it's
If two
seven by
tiles are
five.
placed
It's
in that
seven by
column, it's
five,
over.
or rather, it's 6 by 5 in a two-player game, and
Oh, so, okay.
it's 6 by 5
Yeah.
in a two-player game, and it's seven. It's 6 by 7 in a four-player game.
Yeah. And so soon as like you could be working on getting three or four of those ingredients set up, and then somebody just happens to use one of those spaces because it benefits them, and well, there goes all your work. It's lost. So I
Yeah,
could see that. Yeah, that's. It feels like those should be even higher points than they really are.
yeah,
Without having played this, I'm saying this without having played this or having a real idea.
yeah. I mean, that's sort of what I feel like. Just based on how hard they are, yeah, it does kind of feel like they should be. And
But they're still
even
fun.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're still fine, but they are really difficult. But for example, looking at a couple of them, it's 10 points for a 5 level one, and a 4 level one is 8 or 7 points. So it's
Mm-hmm.
2 extra points for a lot more difficult to get everything to line up just right.
Yeah. So this game actually reminds me a lot of Ticket to Ride. It's similar thing where you're getting cards and now you got to build these routes or line up the fish, the ingredients, and the bigger the route you make, the more points it is. It sounds really similar. Um, and in that game, points tend to be more. They scale more quickly, I think, if I remember right,
Yeah.
for larger routes and that sort of thing. Is it like Ticket to Ride that when the game ends, you're going to lose points for the stuff you didn't finish?
No, you don't lose points for those.
Good. Okay.
Pure
So
pure
it
additive.
doesn't hurt to just take a bunch. Well, other than you're wasting a few turns to do that.
Yeah. No, you anything not completed, you just immediately discard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how's the solo game?
Oh, so for the solo game, it's really just a random bot. you
Oh, okay.
you have a tile that marks where it is that he's going to be moving around, and you have a die that you roll to randomize where he goes, and you roll the die, and he puts from a random stack of tiles, he puts a random thing there, and then just keep going. So you go and he puts a random thing in a random place, and then you go and he puts a random thing in a random place, and you have a challenge card that shows how many recipes you want to complete based on how skilled you're at. So like you may have to do a single five and some fours and some threes and some twos and get a certain number of wasabi cubes. So it creates a goal for you to do, for you to have succeeded.
Hmm.
I like that by doing that, it's encouraging you to mess with those fives. And perhaps some of that is what drew me to feel like, hey, I want these fives to be a viable solution also in the main game, because I use them when I solo and I do stuff with the fives when I solo, and I really kind of avoid them when I'm playing multiplayer. And I do it when I solo because you have to when you solo. You don't win unless you use the fives when you solo. So I play them there, but I don't play them nearly as much with the main player game. But yeah, otherwise it's a random robot that throws stuff out at random, and you want to try and use those ones to do your own stuff. It feels very much like the multiplayer game because
Okay.
other players can be really random when you don't see what their cards are, because yeah, they put stuff all over the board, and you have to be aware of it and realize whether or not it interacts with your stuff, whether helping or hindering, and take advantage of that. So that matches the same feeling, and it's well implemented. It plays like there's no issues with being able to follow how it works. It all works just fine.
Okay. Is it really that random when you're playing other people? Like I imagine that you could kind of get an idea where what they're working at. If they're trying to get a three or a four or five or something, they're lining up stuff in one side of the board consecutively. I would think.
Um, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
If I can't really tell. Perhaps like the only way you can tell is that towards the beginning of the game, there's sort of like at the very start of the game, every single recipe needs one of the two types of rice. So towards the start of the game, you sort of have a feeling where everyone's just like, well, who's going to put out the first rice and open it up so that everyone else can just throw their single ingredient on that rice and do their twos because
Oh,
you got that and you helped everyone out. So there sort of
because some
becomes a
simple
waiting
cards
game between
require a
that.
rice and something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. Okay.
So you at the start of the game, you sometimes have this waiting game as everyone's holding their breath for the first person to do rice, and then someone breaks and someone does it. I've seen that happen a bunch of times now, and you don't have
That's
that happen with the other one. Like at one point in time, my putting out of rice isn't going to affect him. So yeah, other than that first moment of waiting for rice, yeah, I have no way of predicting what someone else is doing or when or why or where they're doing stuff. No, there's no real predicting.
Are there duplicate recipes in the game?
There are not.
There are not. Okay.
Everyone is unique. There are some cards that take advantage of where the tea is placed, so sometimes people just move the tea around. I will often just move the tea around on my turn anyway, just to make sure to emphasize to people that the tea can be moved around, and because I
Hmm.
find it fun to move the tea around. So like sometimes be like, you just put a tile there. I'm going to move all the tea around your single tile just because I can. You can move it off right afterwards and put whatever you want next to it. But I'm putting all the tea around your tile. Why? No reason
Yeah.
at all. Just
Well,
because it's
just
fun.
just to play mind games with you,
Yeah, just to put
keep you guessing.
exactly.
That is funny. This is a neat looking game. It
Yes.
seems pretty replayable. The solo goal is not to get points, just to succeed or fail. Is that right? Or is there no? You're still getting points in the solo game, I guess.
Oh yeah, the solo game you get points the exact same way, so there's
Yeah.
nothing down from it. You play exactly like you would in the main game. It is, as they say, a role model solo game. Get it? Because
Okay.
it's a roll. It's a sushi roll.
Yes, sushi roll. Yes, and there. Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing this game at the store. I think it's about the same size as a box of Carcassonne. Not very big. Maybe a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
not a
bigger than
particularly big
that.
game. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, Julius. This is neat. I had not. I'd heard of this publisher because we talked about Power Plant. I really hadn't heard of him before, and I'll admit with a name like Kids Table Games, I would just ignore them
Well, it could be that you didn't
without
hear
knowing the
about
game.
this back then, because originally the name of the game was Wasabi, a game of raw skill.
Oh, that's an older game. Yes, I
Yes,
remember that actually.
this is a redone version of Wasabi, a game of raw skill.
I did
But
not
the
know that.
original owners of Wasabi, a game of raw skill, sued Kids Table Board Games and told them you can't call your game Wasabi, a game of raw skill. So they had to change it. But I really liked the pun of Wasabi, a game of raw
Yeah.
skill. In case you can't guess,
Oh.
I like puns.
I have noticed that about you. Yeah, yeah. You're definitely a punny guy.
Yes, I'm always rice to meat and fellow pun.
The only thing this game is missing is sushi boats. I wish I had little sushi boats. Then it would be complete. All right. I guess we are done, Julius.
Albert, what's a sushi chef's favorite instrument?
Chopsticks?
The bass.
No. The best. Chopsticks is his favorite song to play.
All right. Have a great evening, everyone.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. We love feedback, so we love hearing from you. You can reach me at julius@oneplayerpodcast.com or JLBird on BGG, and Albert can be reached at albert@oneplayerpodcast.com or Fractaloon on BGG. Our website is oneplayerpodcast.com with the number 1, and we're also on Twitter at oneplayerpodcast. The intro music is copyright Angus and can be found at jamendo.com. The transition music is copyright by Dan Elduce Pancaldi, whose page is at donpancaldi.com. The One Player Podcast is protected under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Thanks for listening.